Okay, this is Terry Wager. The date today is March 25th, 2015. The time right now is 2 a.m. in the morning. I was sleeping in my bed here, or trying to sleep. And my daughter Shawna came out of her bedroom. And she put some food in the microwave right there. And she was deliberately whispering at me from standing over there by the microwave and by that garbage can. She was deliberately whispering, calling me a pedophile. And she was doing it loud, very, very loud enough for me to hear very distinctly and clearly. She's intentionally wanting me to hear her make these accusations. And she's smirking while doing this shit. And then she just walks back to her room as though she said nothing. She's performing for the Multnomah County pedophile sheriffs and for the Portland Pedophile Police Department. She's performing for their own video surveillance purposes. She's trying to harass and provoke me into taking action against her in self-defense. And the reason why is because she's armed with a gun, and I'm surrounded by the Portland Pedophile Police Department. They have police department has this department over here, and they have department directly over here on the other side, opposite of me, and they have department directly below mine. I grabbed my cell phone, and I made a call. I started to make a call to a past employer that I used to work for a long time ago, and the call went through, and I was listening to an answering machine, and I was going to leave a message, and I just remembered that I forgot what my phone number is, so I hung up so that I could look at the number on my own cell phone. I never call my own cell phone, so I never remember what my number is. So I had to look up my number again real quick, and then I went to make the call again, and my service on my cell phone is shut off. So I was just able to make the phone call, and I was on the answering machine, so my phone was working just 5 minutes ago. And I just remembered, as I'm listening to the answering machine, I just remembered I forgot my number because I needed to leave my name and number for these past employers in order for them to call me up. So I had to hang up in order to get the number, and then once I got the number, I called back, or I tried to call back, and that's when my phone is telling me there's no service. Now, when I look at my phone tells me my service ends on May 5th. But at the same time, above it, it says no service. So they just shut off my phone. The police department just shut off my phone. My phone was working. I was able to make one call to the past employer, and I got their answering machine. I wasn't able to leave a message because I forgot the number, because I needed to give them my number in order for them to call me, and I forgot what the number was, so I had to hang up to retrieve the number. And then when I tried to call back, which is like just a minute later, my phone doesn't work anymore. So Shawna, my daughter Shawna Wagar, is flaunting this murder conspiracy that she's involved in my presence. I've already proved on video that my wife was having I've already got video evidence to prove that my wife, Joan Wagar, was having an affair with a Portland cop named Officer Eric Carlson, and that my wife recruited her daughters into setting me up for crimes. And my wife and her daughters were sleeping around with Portland cops, and they were having fun setting me up for crimes that they were committing. And when I found out about that, they poisoned me. Now that was back in 2005. And for the next couple of years, I was severely debilitated. I've been pretty much debilitated severely ever since. It's not easy for me to talk, really, because of how badly they poisoned me, because my respiration is very bad because of them poisoning me. I'm partially paralyzed from them poisoning me. Shawna knows that I'm aware that I'm surrounded by her fuck buddies in the Portland Police Department, that they're using sting tactics to take over the surrounding apartments. I already knew they were doing this. They weren't really hiding the fact from me that they were doing this. The apartment manager here, she's a major fucking kiss-up to the Portland Police and the county sheriffs. And apparently apartment managers have a history in Oregon of allowing police officers to take over multiple apartments for the purpose of framing and murdering people. The apartment manager here most certainly doesn't try to hide this fact from me at all. My daughter Shawna Wagar is deliberately and intentionally entering the kitchen area, and when she gets to about there, by the garbage can and by the microwave there, as she's putting her food in the microwave, she'll just start whispering out loud enough for me to hear her making false pedophile accusations. And she's doing it with a smirk on her fucking face. In other words, she's deliberately and intentionally trying to piss me off and to get me to react to their illegal video surveillance. Because they want me to get angry for their video surveillance, because they want to use that as their justification for just outright shooting me. Now, I just made a phone call to a past employer, and the call went through, and I was on the answering machine with that past employer. And I had to hang up because I forgot my own phone number, so I had to hang up to retrieve my own phone number off of my cell phone that I'm recording this video with right now. And as soon as I got the number, I tried to call that number again, and now I'm receiving a no service message. So the Portland Police Department is watching me right now, and they're aware of the fact that I just tried to call a past employer, and they just shut off my phone service to my cell phone so that I can't get through to my employer. They're not my employer, they're my past employers. They're people that know me. They literally just shut off my service to my phone. So it's on record on this phone that I just made that call, and now minutes later my service just shut off. So my phone was at 1:55 a.m. this morning. I was able to get a call through to my past employer, and I had to hang up in order to retrieve my number because I forgot my own number. And it only took me a minute, and then I went to try to recall again, and my service is shut off. I'm not able to call with this phone now. I still have my phone. It says right on my phone that my service doesn't end until May 5th. So, and here, they just shut off my phone right after I tried to contact an employer to get help. I mean, I just made the call, and the call went through, no problem. I still have 600 plus minutes for the cell phone, and my service is not supposed to end on this phone until like May 5th. And here it is, March 25th, and my phone was working 5 minutes ago. I was able to make a call out, and I had to hang up in order to get my number and then I tried to call back, and now my phone is telling me the service is off. So the police department and the county sheriff just shut off my cell phone. So they don't want me calling people that know me for help. They just shut off my fucking phone. They just fucking shut off my phone. Now, I successfully made that call 5 minutes ago and had to hang up in order to get the number. So that record is on my cell phone. and I had to hang up in order to get my number. And then when I tried to call back, my service is off. And that was only like a 1 minute difference. So my wife and her daughter's buddies in law enforcement just shut off my phone. They just fucking shut off my phone. I literally just like 10 minutes ago, I was on the phone with my past employer and was listening to their answering machine, and I had to hang up in order to get my cell phone number because I forgot it. Because I have to give them my name and cell phone number in order for them to call me back. Because it's like, it's 2 a.m. right now. There's nobody there right now, so nobody, I have to leave a message. And they just frickin' shut off my fucking phone. I have the call record on this phone that call was able to get through, and then they just shut off my service right after I hung up. They literally just shut off my service. So as soon as I got the number and I tried to call back, I'm getting a no service message. So they just shut off my phone. They obviously don't want me warning people, and I'm obviously surrounded by sting operatives. Don't give a damn that I'm aware they're guilty. These people are guilty of murder, and they don't give a shit if I know. She's deliberately and intentionally flaunting it. She doesn't care. She doesn't care if I know. She doesn't care if I can prove it to anybody. It's like I'm literally surrounded by the Portland Police Department. They have the apartment right there. They have the apartment directly below mine, and they have the apartment right there. And the apartment manager that lives on site at this place, she was in the apartment building on the other side of the courtyard there, and she moved over to this building and moved into the apartment that's right next door. It's the one directly below mine. And she's literally joined in with these sting operatives, and they have been staging street theater performances when I leave this apartment for the purpose of framing me for their own video surveillance. They literally placed themselves right in front of me as I try to go down the stairs. They just placed themselves in front of me for their own video surveillance purposes, and they'll use street theater performances. Just like you would see in any sting operation. And they're doing it with the intent of trying to make me look like a bad guy for their own video surveillance. I mean, my wife was poisoning me when I was a regular plasma donor. And my wife and her daughters were sleeping around with Portland cops and palling around with Multnomah County Sheriff officers. And it was these officers that gave my wife permission to poison me. And they even when they poisoned me and had me debilitated, they were still setting me up for crimes. My wife and her daughters were recruited by the Portland Police and County Sheriffs into sting operations. They are sting operatives. There is a lot of people that know that my wife and daughters are sleeping around and palling around with a bunch of people in law enforcement. They're not hiding this from their coworkers. It's open knowledge at Eastport Walmart and Clackamas Walmart that my wife was sleeping around with a Portland cop, and that she was hooking her daughters up with him and with his partners. And it was open knowledge that my wife's lover, Officer Eric Carlson, dyed his hair blonde so that he could impersonate me. And everybody, my wife's coworkers, nicknamed Officer Eric Carlson Double Click. And they were referring to him by that nickname because they knew he was acting as a double to set me up for shit. They basically just, my wife and her daughters were sleeping around with cops and were palling around with county sheriff officers. And they were having fun setting me up for shit. And the entire time they were trying to pretend to be a loving family to my face. And they were intentionally vilifying me behind my back. And they were setting me up for crimes. And when I discovered this, I tried to warn people about it. And that's when my wife poisoned me. Now, they just shut off my fucking cell. They just fucking shut off my cell phone. I was going to leave a message at a past employer of mine that my daughter just did this, because she's not even trying to hide it. She's filled this apartment up with paraphernalia. I've already proved this on other videos, other vlogs, that she's deliberately intentional. They're trying to cover up the fact they're poisoners. They're trying to hide their motive, not from me, but from other people. They were deliberately and intentionally. She's filling my home with thousands of dollars worth of her paraphernalia, of which her fuck buddies in law enforcement buys for her to put in this home. And they do this with the intent of giving me the blame. She is also putting, Shawna Wagar is also putting drug paraphernalia in his apartment, because she's trying to cover up the fact that they're poisoners. Because they want to frame me. The damage they've done to me by poisoning me is already permanent, and they can't really hide the damage. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to frame me as a druggie so that they could hide the fact that they're poisoners. So in essence, she's filling this her room up with pedo paraphernalia, essentially, and with drug paraphernalia, and she's doing this with the intent of framing. And I'm already surrounded by the Portland Police Department. They have undercover cops in this apartment, and in this apartment, and an apartment directly next door. They have more apartments than just these three, but these are the ones where they're maintaining. These three apartments is where they're essentially maintaining the muscle, the actual cops that carry badges and have guns. And the reason why is because they're expecting me to act in self-defense. They're trying to provoke me into acting in self-defense, which is one of the reasons why Shawna Wagar is deliberately admitting to her guilt in my presence. She's not hiding the fact that she's doing this. She wants me to know. Now, I've just made this call to my past employer, and a call got through. No problem. But I had to hang up to get my number because I forgot my number. I have to give them my phone number in order for them to call me back, and I forgot my number. And so I had to hang up real quick, and then I retrieved my number from my cell phone, of which I'm recording this vlog with right now. And I went to try to call back, and now and it just like 1 minute went by, literally just 1 minute, and now my phone service is off. So on March 25th, 2015, at around 1:55 a.m., I was trying to call my past employer to leave a message on their answering machine, and forgot my phone number, so I had to hang up and get my phone number, and then literally a minute later I'm calling back, or trying to call back, and that's when I discovered my service is shut off. I already know the Portland Police Department have the surrounding apartments. They have pretty much most, if not this entire building, taken over. Not all of them are in law enforcement. I'm honored to believe that most of these people that are sting operatives that are in this apartment building are civilian operatives, people that are either buddies or relatives or girlfriends of people in law enforcement. And they surround their targets with their civilian operatives because their civilian operatives can pretend to be actual tenants and can pretend to be unbiased witnesses. And that's one of the reasons why they surround their targets with their civilian operatives. Well, they recruited my wife and her daughters into this shit when my wife was working at the Multnomah County Jail Kitchen. She was having an affair. She was cheating on me with somebody in law enforcement. I didn't know with who at the time. I wasn't even trying to find out at the time. But I knew she was cheating. She wasn't really hiding the fact that she was cheating, and she wasn't really hiding the fact that she didn't love me anymore. Basically, the Portland Police Department and County Sheriffs, they gave my wife and her side of the family permission to set me up as a pedo, and they were working towards that end. They were using sting tactics to accomplish it, and the county sheriffs and the Portland police were coaching and directing my wife and her side of the family as to how to do it. And the county sheriffs was even funding my wife into turning our yard into a playground by putting multiple large swimming pools on our yard, and large trampolines on our yard. And they did this for the purpose of putting a double on our property, somebody that they could use to act as a double, and a look-alike, somebody that's a look-alike, that resembles me. And they were using these tactics to set me up, and they didn't realize that I was already aware that they were setting me up. They already backed up 44 bullshit felony charges, but they dropped the charges. They just wanted to basically vilify me publicly. They were literally blackmailing me at a certain point, right after the county sheriffs murdered my father. They were blackmailing me from that point forward. They were making threats and demands, and they already had my wife and everybody on her side of the family and our daughters to lie for them. They already recruited my wife and her side of the family and our daughters into their sting operations when they murdered my father, and they were blackmailing me from that point forward. They're guilty of murders. They were using sting tactics to commit the murders, and they were surrounding their targets with their operatives. And their operatives is a combination of plainclothes people, law enforcement, and their civilian operatives. My wife and her side of the family and our daughters are essentially, literally became civilian operatives for the Portland Police and for the Multnomah County Sheriffs when my wife was working at the county jail kitchen. And they have been so ever since, and they've been trying to hide it from me, but they don't hide it from other people. Their own co-workers at places that they work at, they don't hide this fact from those people. They make it known to those people, like their co-workers and Sid. They make it known to these people that, they're palling around and they're sleeping around people in law enforcement. And they just vilify the shit out of me so that nobody will care that I'm a victim. My wife was literally poisoning me when she was cheating with a Portland cop by the name of Officer Eric Carlson. And she was openly cheating on me. In other words, she wasn't hiding this fact from her coworkers. She didn't give a damn if her coworkers knew that she was having an affair with a Portland cop. She didn't give a damn if her coworkers knew that this cop dyed his hair blonde so that he could impersonate me. They were flaunting this fact. My wife and her daughters, they were flaunting this to their coworkers. They were killing off relatives while they were doing this. They murdered Virgil Minor around the same time they first poisoned me. So I'm not the only family member that these people were poisoning. Essentially, the female members of the family were palling around and sleeping around with Portland cops and with county sheriff officers, and they were poisoning off and pedifying and vilifying the male members of the family, and were vilifying the male members of the family behind their backs. And that's how they were doing this. And this is how they were getting away with it. And they were being coached and directed by the Multnomah County Sheriffs and by the Portland Police Department. Now, I successfully made a phone call on March 25th, 2015 at around 1:55 a.m. with the intent of leaving a message on a past employer's answering machine. And I had to hang up because I forgot my number. And As soon as I retrieved the number, I called back or tried to call back, and now I'm being told my service is shut off. And it's just like a minute later. So the Portland Police and County Sheriff just shut off my service to my phone. I still have time left on this phone, but they just shut it off. They just shut it off. So they obviously don't want me calling for help. They just shut off my phone. I'm now under the belief that if I leave or attempt to leave this apartment, I'll probably be shot by the Portland Police or by the Multnomah County Sheriffs. They already have my apartment surrounded with their operatives. They clearly don't want me contacting people to get help. They don't want me. Obviously, they don't want me contacting people that know me. And they basically just did this. They just did this. I already know they have me under illegal video surveillance. The Multnomah County Sheriffs and the Portland Police Department, they love their top-down view. They usually, if they bug an apartment with their illegal video surveillance equipment, they usually do it above their target's apartment, usually. Like in this case, since I'm on the second floor here, and there's no apartments above me, they would go into the attic and they would just illegally bug this apartment in that manner. And the reason why they prefer their top-down views because they're always using photo doubles. They use officers to impersonate the people that they're targeting. Officer Eric Carlson was quite literally dyeing his hair blonde so that he could impersonate me. And he was doing this while he's having sexual affairs with my wife. They weren't hiding this from their co-workers at Eastport Walmart and at Clackamas Walmart. My wife Joan Wagar, and her sister Vicki Rosales, and my wife's daughter Shawna Wagar, and my wife's other daughter Megan Wagar. All four of them were working at Clackamas Walmart pretty much at the same time in late 2006, early 2007, and they all four worked at Clackamas Walmart, and it was open knowledge in that store as well that they were using, that they were sleeping around and pounding around with cops and with county sheriff officers. And it was open knowledge that my wife poisoned me, and it was open knowledge that they were using Officer Eric Carlson as a double to frame me for crimes. Now, Shawna Wagar is deliberately and intentionally coming out here into the kitchen area, and she is deliberately and intentionally whispering to her guilt. She wants me to know. She's deliberately trying to provoke me into acting in self-defense for their illegal video surveillance, because they already have, the Portland Police Department already has the surrounding apartments surrounding mine. I'm quite literally in a life-threatening situation here because I'm surrounded by sting operatives that are already guilty of murder, and they know that I already know this, and my options are extremely limited. I'm partially paralyzed from being poisoned by these people. It's taken me years to get to a point where I can just communicate this effectively because they poisoned me so badly that I couldn't even, back in 2005, 2006, 2007, and pretty much up until 2014, they were constantly poisoning me and trying to keep me debilitated by repeated poisonings, and they were trying to keep me debilitated, and they know I've been trying to warn people, and they know that they pretty much cover up all my attempts to call for help over the internet, and they're trying to prevent me from contacting anybody that knows me. I'm chronologicing this event right now. This is a life-threatening situation. Shawna's in her bedroom right now. I know damn well she's armed. She's already stabbed me when I was asleep several months ago. I didn't even realize that I was stabbed until I woke up the next day, and the wound started scabbing up and started itching. And that's when I noticed it. And I didn't realize that I was stabbed because I'm partially paralyzed. And if it weren't for the itching, I wouldn't even realize it. I didn't even know. They have me in a debilitated condition. I can't. I'm partially paralyzed. I bleed internally, and the more I move around, the worse the internal bleeding gets. I'm not able to be very active at all. I can't really go anywhere. I've tried to go places. I can't really go very far anymore. Just going a couple blocks is too much for me anymore, and I can't really do much of anything. I can get to a standing position and I can walk. I need the aid of a cane to help me to walk, help take the weight off of my left side, because it's my left side that's where I am partially paralyzed, and where most of my internal injuries is on my left side. And if I can walk a short distance without it, but it helps to use that cane because I can take some of the weight off of my left side. My upper body strength is relatively okay at this point. My lower body is not so great, and my organs area is not so great either because of the internal bleeding from being poisoned by these people. My wife, Joan Wagar, has admitted in her diary she's a poisoner. I tried to call police to report this, and I called for an ambulance. She's literally admitting in her diary that to her affair with Officer Eric Carlson, and she's admitting that she's a poisoner in her diary, and she was admitting to her motive, and she's admitting I can't get help from the police. And I called 911 when she admitted to this in her diary, that she's a poisoner. And the police department, my wife battered me while I was on the phone in 2006 when I called 911 back then. And my wife was battering me while I was on the phone with the 911 operator. And when the Portland Police Department, when the police department arrived, when the police arrived on the scene, they were not recognizing my 911 call, even though they saw me hang up with the 911 operator. They immediately started treating me like some sort of a criminal, even though I'm the 911 caller, and they were trying to provoke me for their video surveillance. And they were trying to cause me to do something to act in self-defense. So quite literally, my wife battered me while I was on the phone with 911. And when the police arrived, they were literally assaulting me, trying to get me to act in self-defense so that they could use that as a justification to batter me to death and or shoot me. And this was 2007. Well, that's 2007. Well, right now it's March 25th, 2015. And I'm currently surrounded by Portland police officers that are renting the surrounding apartments. And I'm stuck in this apartment with my oldest daughter, Shawna Wagar, and she's deliberately and intentionally coming out into this living room and into this kitchen area, and she's deliberately and intentionally admitting to her guilt. And she's doing it in a provoking manner. She's trying to enrage me by admitting to her guilt. She wants me to know that she was helping them to frame me, and she's deliberately just admitting in my presence. I'm in a situation where what do I do about it? I know damn well I'm surrounded by the Portland Police Department. I know that these are my wife and daughter's fuck buddies in law enforcement. I know any act of self-defense on my part will be met by a bunch of plainclothes cops from the surrounding apartments kicking down my door and just outright shooting me. And this is the reason why she's deliberately and intentionally trying to provoke me, because they have me under illegal video surveillance, and they have every intention of provoking me into anger for the purpose so that they can justify just shooting me. And they want to have a justification on video so that they could use that as a justification. So they're trying to provoke me into taking action. Now, I tried to call. I called my past employer of mine that has people that work there that know me, and I realized as I made the call that, and I was listening to the answering machine, I realized that I forgot my number. I have to hang up in order to get my number. So I hung up and read the number off of my cell phone, and then I tried to call back, and I'm getting a no service message. And literally just 1 minute went by. So the sting operatives that are surrounding my apartment just had my phone shut off. The sting operatives that have the surrounding apartments, surrounding mine, that are illegally spying on me in this apartment right now, right at this very moment, saw that I just tried to call a past employer of mine and realized that I hung up, and they immediately shut off my phone service. So they don't want me to contact anybody that knows me. Now, this is quite literally an extremely dangerous moment because of the fact that Shawna Wagar is deliberately and intentionally admitting to her guilt. In my presence, she wants me to know. If she's going to admit in my presence, then I can testify to that, and that's what she's doing. And she's not hiding the fact that she's filling this apartment with paraphernalia. And I already know I'm surrounded by the Portland Police Department. They have the surrounding apartments surrounding mine. And they have a multitude of other apartments that they have their civilian operatives in. They just shut off my phone service. So that's pretty serious. They're dead serious about preventing me from getting help. So if I try to leave here, they'll probably assume that I'll go to a payphone in order to contact people that know me. And so I don't think they're going to allow me to do that. I think they'll try to fucking shoot me. This is a pretty tense moment right now because they're technically making, Shawna is deliberately admitting in my presence, and then her fuck buddies in law enforcement just shut off my service to my cell phone when they realized I was trying to call a past employer to leave a message. They just shut off my phone service. And now it's on the record on this phone that my call got through, and I had to hang up. So I wasn't able to leave a message because I forgot my number. So I had to hang up to retrieve my number. And then when I went to try to call again, that's when I noticed the service is shut off on this phone. Not 60 seconds went by. Not 60 freaking seconds. So the sting operatives that are renting the surrounding apartments surrounding me and have me under illegal video surveillance are aware of the fact that I was going to leave a message at past employers of mine, and they just shut off my fucking phone. They just turned off my service.